not talking about when we just say thank you, Jesus, and we get a little shiver. I'm not just talking about when we say thank you, Jesus, just out of, oh, thank you, Jesus. But when it's really down on the inside, see, gratitude. Faith, do we see our faith? When we say that we're people of prayer, do we see our prayer? When we say that we're people of love, do we see the love being demonstrated? So when we say we're thankful, amen, because understand that if you had leprosy, then you were a cast off, that you couldn't be around everyone, your whole life was changed. And the thing was that you were struck with something that can go through. How did they end up with leprosy? What happened? Who did they come in contact with? What did they do? But we find throughout the Word of God that even people that put their mouth on people came up with leprosy as hearing. All right. So we need to be careful, because sometimes we know what we say, who we hang around with, and what we do and where we go. Amen. Because understand that if other individuals went around, these people were deemed as unclean. They had leprosy. But when they saw Jesus walking by, see, sometimes being in a leper situation will cause you to be a little desperate. And when they saw Jesus walk by, they said and they cried out to him. And they said, Master, have mercy on us. So they got to the point where no one was giving them any mercy. They got to the point where people say, oh, you're a leper, get away from me. And we must understand there are people that's out in the world that is looking for mercy from the church. We think they just need to get away. But they said, you know what? Master. Because they probably have seen what Jesus has done. No time for them, even though these are people that need to be redeemed and need to be restored. So they say, you know what, we got nothing left. But they saw the Master walk by, and they lifted up their voices, and they cried out to God. And see, we might find ourselves in leprous type situations where the only person we can call out to is God. And if this person hasn't called back, and this person they should do, and they didn't cry with us. And see, we must understand that certain things that we deal with, that we don't just need someone just to sit there and cry with us. We need deliverance. Yes. We want the thing gone. You sitting there crying with me about my leper situation is not going to bring me out of my situation. But they looked and they said, there's the one who can set me free. The deliverer is walking by. So they lift up their voices and they cry out unto the Lord. So we must understand that there's some situations that we think that somebody else can help us out, but Jesus is really the only answer. So if it looks like that you're all by yourself and you're far off, and I'm dealing with this situation and nobody seems to have the answer, try calling on the Lord. Verse 14 says, and when he saw them, he said unto them, go show yourself unto the priest. And it came to pass, as they went, they were cleansed. So the cry for mercy is what possesses and put on there to determine whether a person or confirm a person being cleansed or having leprosy. So he says, go show yourself to the priest. So people, now we listen to this era, some people are dealing with certain things and they think that they're all set and they think they're clean. And because they think they got it all together, they don't need the church anymore.
That's good. That's good.
I know that does the church have some bad situations? Yes. Because it's individuals and human. But God is the one who reigns and rules over the church. So we don't throw out the church because you can't get into the kingdom without the church.
Thank you, Jesus. Come on, sir.
Right. So everybody said the church is this and the church is that and the church is that. You can find everything that's wrong with the church, and many what people say might be true about some churches, but you haven't seen every church.
Amen.
You haven't been to every church. And understand, if the church was so bad, why did God institute and put the church in there and didn't take it out when they messed up?
All right, God.
So what's going on in the church now is nothing new. So when we look and say, well, they're doing this and they're doing that, but do you realize that when Jesus put the church and instituted the church and said, this is the conduit and the vehicle that I'm going to use to introduce people into the kingdom. This is how people are going to be saved. Guess what was going on in the church? You had a man sleeping with his father's wife. Mm-hmm. Corinthians. You had homosexuality going on, Romans. You had some stuff that was treated, you had some people that treated Paul. The Apostle Paul is the great apostle. They treated him bad.
All right, God.
You had strife, you had stuff going on. All the stuff that they were listing was stuff that was going on. You had stuff that was out of order that had to be set in order. And most people, they just say, I'm not going to go because they're full of hypocrites. I'm not going to go because this and that is wrong. But understand, this is God's vehicle, so you can run through. But understand that God has still instituted some things, and he has set some order, and he has set some people in place. He said, because I have given apostles, yes. I've given gifts, so that the church can go forth and do what it was called to do. So it doesn't mean that the church is broke, but there might be some broken people in church.
All right, God, that's good.
And the verse is throwing everything out, said, what can you do? Versus going and inspecting everybody else. Are you walking in integrity? Are you walking in holiness? Are you walking in love? Are you studying the scriptures? Are you praying the way you're supposed to? Are you laying hands on the sick? Are you going out evangelizing? What are you doing? Because we can sit back all day long and we can criticize one another. Sit in this room and criticize one another all day long. Well, you got this and you got that and you should have did this and you should have did and you didn't do this and you were did. We can do that all day long. Yes. Or we can be about our Father's business. Or we can be kingdom-minded citizens and go forth and understand that it is by the grace of God that I'm not what I used to be. It is the grace of God that gives me breath in my lungs. It is the grace of God, and because the grace of God, I have a stretch in gratitude.
Yes, God.
I don't need you to put you down to make myself take a look at my life. And what God brought me out of should make me feel better that I'm in the graces of God. I don't need to look at you and say what you're not doing. I can just look at Gerald a couple of years ago. I can look at Gerald 10 years ago. I can look at Gerald. But by the grace of God, year after year after year, not only do I grow in the love of God, but I can grow in the gratitude and appreciation that yet he gave me yet another year.
Yes, Lord.
When he should have cut me off a long time ago.
Thank you, Jesus.
When if I would have got what I deserved, I wouldn't be here today.
My.
And they're beat down and they're not where they need to be. But guess what? Because I have gratitude and because he extended forgiveness to me, because he extended mercy to me, because he extended grace to me, then I need to do the same.
Yes, God. That's good.
To tell somebody, go to church.
Go to church.
Understand when Jesus sent them to the priests? These are the same folk that was coming against him because they couldn't see.
All right, God. Teach right here, sir.
So, because we go to church, he said, because you go show yourself to them, not only are they going to verify, but they're going to now know that the power of God is in working down here.
All right, God.
This is yet another testimony of the power of God.
Thank you, Jesus.
So if we just sit at home and we extract us, there's many churches that don't really believe people from service.
You better come on, sir.
Yeah, I'm going to go there. So if we run out all the homosexuals, lesbians,
yes,
and we don't want them to come to church, how are we going to know that God can heal them too?
God,
and set them free?
How? How you going to know?
We want them to get themselves we're reading, if we really believe that the Holy Spirit is real, then we ought to know this is the place they need to be.
Yes, Lord.
So they can be healed and set free.
Yes, God.
So God cleansed them, but he said, go and show them. God did the work. Did they hear the voice of God? When he said, go show them, they heard the voice of God. But he said, still go. Because why? God believes in accountability.
Yes, he does.
So that's why they had to go. Because there has to be some accountability. He said you can't go rogue and run around and you might not know everything because why? This brother's a Samaritan. So this brother needs to be in relationship.
Thank you, Jesus.
This brother needs to have a level of accountability. So he says, go show yourself to the priest. Go submit yourself to somebody.
What you saying now? All right.
Verse 15, and one of them, when he saw he was healed, he turns back with a loud voice, glorified God, fell down at his face, on his face, at the feet of Jesus, giving him thanks. And he was a Samaritan.
Come on, talk right here. The one that shouldn't be there.
So we don't know about all the other ones, because they kept walking. But this one, he comes back, because he said, I had a situation, and I went to God, and God healed me from this situation. So the people are touched and they're healed by God, but not everybody's thankful.
Uh-oh.
God is doing stuff for people all day long.
Yes, he is. Yes, he is.
But they're still not thankful. God has been doing stuff for you all day long.
What you saying, God?
While you were asleep, God was doing stuff for you.
Yes, Lord.
All the stuff that they deem is so wrong, and they say, if God is who he say he is, then why is this going on? Tell somebody it's grace and mercy.
Grace and mercy.
So understand that unthankfulness is a disease in itself.
Yes, it is.
That needs to be eradicated out of the hearts and minds of people. Unthankfulness will put you and cause some things in your life. See, unthankful people will because why? Romans 1 says when they were unthankful,
That's what he said.
he turned them over.
Survive.
See where unthankfulness can get you? That they were one way, and because of that, their hearts grew dark.
Jesus.
They couldn't even see the wisdom. They couldn't see what God was doing. And we can't fall into this disease of being unthankful. See, the ones that kept walking, because Jesus answered, he said, weren't there 10? So where are the others? Because we can, as believers, we can fall into this thing that God is supposed to do.
Come on now.
God does things, and see, we get up and we shake ourselves. And we can become full of ourselves that God is just supposed to. God has to. And we become unthankful for all the things that he has and is going to do.
Yes.
Because if we can't be thankful in the state that we're in, things that you don't feel that should have came to you, because see, we can tend to run down our resume. Well, I'm preaching, I'm teaching, I'm living right, I'm doing right, I'm praying all night, I'm giving, I'm doing, and we run down all the stuff that we're doing, and we say, and God is supposed to. God says, no more word. You can remind me of my word, but don't be unthankful. on your resume that you're doing, are you thankful that I'm allowing you to do that?
All right, God.
Because it's the grace of God that allows you to pray as much as you pray, to preach the way you preach, teach the way you teach, to love the way you love. You understand that all the stuff that you're doing, you could be talking one day and thinking all what you've got. And the next moment, you're out in the field eating
Jesus.
with long fingernails. And so understand that we have to stretch in gratitude. Because when we get to the point that we think that we are entitled and we deserve, then we stop stretching in gratitude and appreciation. And we begin to walk around with a different posture. So parents, you can say thank you to your children.
Come on now. Teach on that.
Well, you better have, because I put a roof over you. But see, when we begin to do that, and as they grow, and they begin to take that posture, then that gets passed on down. And then they say, oh, so when I do something for someone, or when I do, then I deserve, and I should always get. But see, we're setting a bad precedent, because understand, you can do right, and you might not get the result that you think you're supposed to get.
Right now.
Job could have said, guess what? I've been getting up praying for everybody. I'm eschewing evil. You said I'm perfect, and look at my body. Look at what I've lost. Look at where I am and what I'm going through.